Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Wednesday night and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. Apologize for the Wednesday. Usually I do these live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just yesterday I wasn't able to make it on time, so here we are. I'd rather, like delay a day and then instead of like not do one at all because I know that you guys look forward to these things, which I totally appreciate. So if you guys are willing to tune in to watch me draw pictures, the least I can do is show up myself. So that's why I'm here. I'm here on a Wednesday. It's awesome. We've done Wednesdays before. It's always great. Sometimes we get like new people in because it's a different day and they're more available. So this is gonna be awesome. So what are we working on tonight? Great question. Glad you asked. So I've done a couple of eye, just like like that bit before. Like I've done a woman's eye, I've done a dog's eye, I've done a cat's eye. I didn't really have anything else planned tonight, so I decided I wanted to do another eye just because I enjoy doing those and it's a lot of fun for me. So I'm going to do an old man's eye. So there's like a lot to work with there. You can tell by my eyes, I'm not the youngest guy in the world. There's like features that people develop as they age. You get some wrinkles in there, you get some crow's feet, things like that. With older men, our eyebrows start getting crazy, things like that. So I think there's a lot to work with here. It's a lot to have fun with drawing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm always trying to improve my skills as an artist and tackle some of what I would consider like classic art. Drawing anatomy, drawing human beings, pieces of human beings, things like that. It definitely it would qualify as classic art. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump right in. Um, so I've got kind of taped off like with my other eyeballs. I kind of want to like zoom in on like a feature. So I kind of tape it off, even though like I don't really need to. As you can see, it's not even perfectly like centered. It's just to capture that idea of kind of like zooming in. Plus, my reference picture is more kind of squarish and things like that. So I kind of already marked off a little bit of like where I want it to be on the page. I'm just going to jump right in with like some shading. Um, so I've talked about before. So I like to do these pencil these drawings in pencil, like graphite pencil, just because it feels more like pure drawing to me than like if I was doing with like charcoal or something like that. So whenever I tackle this, part of the challenge is I want to actually draw with pencil. That said, I am going to use like a little bit of charcoal here just to kind of get some shading in, just because I don't have any powdered graphite. You could use powdered graphite if you have some, or if you have like an old pencil or something that you're willing to grind down to get some graphite, you can do this just as well as that. So for demo purposes, pretend I'm using graphite and not like charcoal. But otherwise, it's all kind of the same. Like you can use charcoal with graphite. It's not going to kill anybody. It's not going to hurt your picture. If you're a purist, though, like it might matter. I'm not what you would call a purist. I just like to draw, use whatever I can get. So shout out to a couple people in the room. We've got Rome Dog. We've got Because I Can. Nice to see you Because I Can. We've got. I'm just gonna call you BIC. Nice to see BIC. We got Hater in the house. Nice. It's good to see Hater back 3 times. This is your third appearance in after a hiatus. I love that. That's cool. Yeah, that's a run drawback to not keeping a consistent schedule. I really try hard to keep a consistent schedule. It's going to even get worse with the holidays coming up, but I try really hard to keep a consistent schedule just because I want to set expectations. If people are going to be nice enough to show up and watch my weird little show, then the least I can do is make it convenient for them. And part of the convenience is making sure that I'm always there at a certain time so that people can kind of plan around it and stuff. Rum Dog says I'm awesome with my schedule. So forget what I'm saying. Rum Dog spoken. I'm all good. Um, like actually, if I had more free time, to be honest with you, let's be honest, guys. Work sucks. Like the day job, doing doing other things besides art, all of that sucks. If it was totally up to me, I mean, I'm not the youngest guy, but I'm also not retired. I would love to be retired because then I would be drawing all day long. That would be awesome. I would love to do a live stream every day if I could. Um, that is, There's one day going to happen. It will be a while before it does. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to get in like some shadow areas. Um, Whenever I draw these type of pictures, they're never perfectly photorealistic, but I shoot for realism a little bit more than I do with some of my other pictures. So they do take a little while to like bring forth. And there's a point where I say, well, okay, all right, this is all I can get done in the time allowed. But these type of pictures are ones that you can continually refine and just, you can start off very rough like I'm doing here with some shadows and then refine it over, minutes, hours, days even. I have never done a picture that's taken more than, well, that's not true. I've done pictures that's taken multiple days, but they're usually like paintings or something that I I put down and forget to come back to or something like that. Speaking of which, I do have some drawings that I forgot to come back to. Um, Mama Q, I don't know if you're in the house. I'm supposed to send your picture to you. I don't think I sent that Bigfoot out to you, kid, yet. So I've got I've got a backlog of tasks, but I'll get there eventually. I'm not a punctual artist. We're actually not known for being, very reliable when it comes to like schedules and keeping to commitments and things like that. I actually, I think by and far, I'm actually one of the more reliable artists out there because we're not known for being reliable. We just care about different things. That's all. We want to capture the beauty in the world around us. We don't really want to stick to a clock, a schedule, or any of that stuff. We work when we're inspired. 3 o'clock in the morning, you wake up, you have an idea for a picture. That's when you want to work. I'm just kidding, of course. Like you have to have some like I don't care who you are, what kind of artist you are. You may be one of those type that are super creative and stuff like that. More power to you, but to exist in this world, you have to live by the clock. None of us can escape it. Not even this old man that I'm drawing. This picture I'm drawing reflects time. Time is, I actually say this a lot lately, and it's probably something new that I've become obsessed with is the concept of time as a commodity. It really is like the most important thing that you will ever spend in your life. And, if you really start thinking about that and how important that is, then you realize like, well, am I wasting my time? And is it a good idea to waste my time when it's the most important thing? Like you can spend money, like well, money's important too. I like money. Money's good. But you you can spend money and stuff and that's renewable. So like, like it I don't want to diminish how hard it is to make money. For some people it's a lot more difficult than others. But it is a renewable resource, right? So like I don't even know how I got on the topic of this. We're drawing an old man, so let's talk about time. There we go. So money is a renewable resource, and like even if you run out of it, I mean, you can stand out on the street corner with a jar or something and like beg for money. You can get more money. You can never get more time. Time is something that you only get so much of. There's a finite amount of days that you will wake up, finite amount of days that you will draw, finite amount of days that you will spend with your fluffy loved ones. It's important to care about how you spend that time. Anyway, I don't have a lot to say about it. That was just what I was thinking. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. It's not like I'm obsessed with this, or I do get obsessed about things. That's true. Um, I get on a topic and I just, you know, forget to think about other things. I'm not obsessed with time right now. I just started thinking about a lot of the things that I waste time on and how I can better spend that time. Like drawing pictures. Drawing pictures is an excellent use of my time. One, you get something out of it. Two, it builds some skills. It's like any muscle, that you have to exercise. the more you exercise the muscle, the better it performs. So that's how I kind of view artistic skill. If you don't practice your artistic skill, if the muscles atrophy, if that's the way to think about it. I like getting like little details in the eye. That's what this is all about. Like it looks a little blurry now, but this is just like the underlayment. But anyway, this art is an excellent way to use your time. Like sometimes don't get me wrong, there is some benefit. There's a lot of benefit actually in doing nothing at all. Like if you don't get 8 hours of sleep at night, they tell, well, maybe it's 6, I don't know. At some point you have to get some sleep, right? Like even doctors will tell you that. So not all like inactivity is a waste of time. So like, if you're, you know, lost in thought, contemplative thought or something like that, that's not necessarily a waste of time. So that's kind of how I see art actually. It's a kind of a contemplate, or the act of doing art, not the art itself. The act of doing art I kind of see as a contemplative state of being where, even if you're not actively thinking about the picture, you're still, your brain is still kind of like on autopilot where it is thinking about things. Um, different layers of your mind, subconscious, all that stuff. It is processing things. So like to me, it's a lot like meditation. And that's not that's probably what I would consider a productive downtime. There you go. Rome Dog says, and at the end sometimes you're like, damn, I made that. Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I'm except when well, actually no. Okay, I'm always like, damn, I made that, right? Like even when I make something terrible, I'm like, damn, I made that. That's terrible. So it's always a damn, I made that moment for me. But yeah, sometimes I luck out and it's like something good. And when I do make something that I'm proud of, something I'm happy with, I show it off to everybody. I'm like, hey, did you check this out? Like I kind of bury the stuff that's bad, but yeah, certainly anything that I create that I like, I share. And it's kind of subjective. Like sometimes I like something and I share it, and not everybody's into it, and they're like, eh, I don't see it, but I still feel good about it. So far, I mean, this is looking like an eye, but it's looking kind of like a young man's eye. It's or a young person's eye so far. We have to get some details in here eventually. But I'm still working on getting like kind of shadowy areas in just to get it started. So the thing is, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it last night, um, but that's okay. The other thing is, like, I was busy and I actually got finished up a little bit before like the stream would have ended, so it's possible I could have probably shown up anyway. But then also, Marvel dropped the new Deadpool on Disney Plus. So even though I could have popped in a little bit later on, I decided to go watch Deadpool instead. That's not to say that you guys aren't as cool as Deadpool is, but it's Deadpool. Deadpool was really good. Like it's not for all audiences. Like there's probably some kids out there, and you guys should not be watching Deadpool. Don't say Jeremy said go watch Deadpool because it's not for kids. Um, that said, Deadpool's awesome. I love the new Deadpool. Um, I was concerned when they first announced it, like Deadpool on Disney. Like this is going to be not the Deadpool I know, but no, it is definitely the Deadpool that everybody knows and remembers. It is it's for adults. Like there's a lot of crass humor and things like that in it that you know like normally I recommend Marvel movies to just about anybody. They're pretty general audiences. This one isn't with that. I mean, it's rated R, so like it's not like it's a surprise. But there's some movies that are rated R, and then there's some movies that are rated R. Actually, it's not even that bad. It's just bad crass humor. Like jokes that I couldn't say on my channel. Actually, I wonder if I could. I don't even know what the community guidelines are. I don't know what I could get away with. I know that you're not really supposed to like, say a lot of bad words and stuff like that, but that's just no, it's not like you'd be sitting at a restaurant or something and you just like start rattling off like bad words or something. I mean, here in YouTube, like you're in a public environment, so you just basically act like any public environment. That said, I really don't know what the content guidelines are. I don't know if like you can. I don't think Deadpool would last on YouTube. I think you would get canceled pretty quickly. Plus, there's a lot of blood in it. There's a lot of gore and everything. So it's not just the language. I mean, there is a I mean, you have Deadpool who has like a bunch of guns and knives and swords and stuff like that, and then you have Wolverine who literally has like claws for hands, like or extractable claws at least. Um, that Oh, and they both are like they both regenerate, so like you can't kill each other, right? So all they're doing is like bashing at each other repeatedly for no reason because like can't do any damage. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of blood in that movie too, which is not good for all audiences, and probably not good for any audiences. Just where you become desensitized to things like that. That's part of being an American. I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's okay. All right, so bear with me. I know that this still looks pretty rough, and we'll start getting some details in and some anchor points so that you can kind of like see where you're going. Um, how's everyone's week going? Kid, Jeremy, Rome, BIC? I don't know. How's yours going, Hater? I think my week is busy as usual and stuff like that, but I've been enjoying myself this week for the most part. I'm trying to get some things done before the holiday season. I haven't decided if I'm going to take like a hiatus during the holiday season here on this channel. I did last year. I think I took like 2 weeks off, and I ended up missing it. Like I took 2 weeks off, and I think I kind of regretted taking the 2 weeks off, or like there was several times when I'm like, nah, I'm just going to go and stream anyway, um, but I didn't. So I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. I, I guess we'll see. See if I'm in the mood. I have an idea for a Thanksgiving um, drawing or painting that I'm going to do. I'm going to do a coffee painting of a turkey. I know that abroad you guys don't celebrate American Thanksgiving and stuff, but we're all about the turkey here for some reason. So I'm going to do a coffee painting of a turkey. I think I'll do that next week. I forget what day it is. I don't know how far away we are from Thanksgiving. I have a sense that it's coming up soon, maybe. Let's see. I do like drawing with these blending stumps. It gives me the opportunity to get like large areas in pretty quick. I think a coffee turkey would be great. Thanks, kid. Yeah, I mean it's all to like continue with my wildlife series and coffee. I think I've done a pretty good job of I started doing the coffee paintings January or February. I think it was more like February. And I've been pretty consistent with those coffee. I haven't been doing them as often as I thought I would be, just because like sometimes I get a little bored with them. But that said, I've been pretty consistent on theme. Like they're always wildlife of some sort, and that's pretty impressive for me because yeah, I mean, you guys know me. I'm all over the place. I don't stick with the subject very long. Like there's a lot of artists that do this. Hey, Lorraine's in the house. Nice. Yay, turkey. Um, this is not a turkey. I don't want to give the impression that I'm doing a turkey now. That'll be next week for Thanksgiving. Um, but yeah, I feel like I feel like a lot of artists are pretty consistent in their theme. Like, they either always do portraits or they always do landscapes or they always do animals or whatever. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place. That probably hurts me a little bit in terms of like viewership because, like, I don't know, people want to know what they're watching. So they might tune in to they might tune in because they like my portraits back in the day, and then like all I draw is dogs, so they're like, I don't want to watch dogs, I want to watch portraits. And then, you know, maybe maybe they only want to watch dogs, and here I'm doing an eyeball, and they're like, nah, I don't want to watch an eyeball. I want to watch you draw a dog. If you're not drawing a dog, I don't want to watch. So I don't know how that stuff works. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could do like a poll or something, but I don't think it's going to help because like if somebody doesn't like what I draw, I probably will still continue drawing it just because I like drawing it. So like I like drawing this eyeball here, so I'll probably continue doing that. All right. So there are some more areas that have some I have a request from Warhorse. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, shoot that to me in an email. I always love requests. Um, I don't always get to them straight away, but I keep them like in reserve. At some point, I will work on them. I do. I feel kind of bad. There are some people's pets that I haven't finished up yet. That they've been kind of. They probably forgot they even asked, but I haven't forgotten. I keep all these stored up and everything. One of these days. One of these days, I'll get my shit together, guys. I don't know. It's hit or miss with me. Sometimes I'm like on the ball, like firing on all cylinders, and then sometimes I'm just completely lost. I don't know where I'm at these days. All right. So there's some more shading areas that I will get in later, but I want to take a moment and move on to some of the detailed areas. So in particular, let's see, I got a bunch of pencils over here. Let me go ahead and show you. So I got all these different pencils. They're all like numbered differently. The higher the number, the darker it's going to be. So like this 8B, that's going to be super dark. I also have this 9B here. I'm going to go with that. Um, so, you don't have to spend a lot of time drawing with pencils to realize that's how they work. The darker ones are going to be the higher numbers. But yeah, I want the iris here, not the iris, pupil, sorry. I want the pupil here inside the iris to be super dark. I want to leave some room for like highlights, but I don't want it to like look like I'm leaving room for highlights, so that's gonna be a bit of a challenge. See, I think I can get by with. The other thing is I have to kind of lean to the side because of the reflection of the light. That's always something that I don't like about graphite pencils. And honestly, this is the number one reason why I use charcoal so much is I don't like how the light reflects off of the graphite. Like there are some pencils, I think they're on the pricey side that aren't reflective like this. I might get those at some point just because this is so annoying. And it's never as dark as you want it to be. So like you're always drawing in a gray instead of black, right? Because it's like picking up that light. I don't care if you so like I have lights on up here. It doesn't matter if I have those lights on or not. Even just like in daylight, it'll look gray instead of black. So I don't know. To each their own. Some people really love graphite. I mean, I like it. I like drawing with it. I just don't like the reflectiveness of it. That's the number one thing I would do without if I could. And like I said, I saw that they have some pencils that are reflective free, non-reflective. What's the proper term there? I don't know. So maybe I'll give those a shot. If you fix the problem, you can't really complain about the problem anymore. So you can see, I mean, it's already starting to take a little bit of shape. Eyeballs are fun to draw because they very quickly become, at least somewhat realistic. Uh, we stare at eyes all the time, whether they're other people's, like loved ones, we get lost in somebody's eyes. Um, Even if it's like celebrities in a magazine or something, we get lost in their eyes. We get we get lost in our own eyes staring in the mirror, if you're like if you're a little bit on the narcissistic side and like staring at yourself in the mirror. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's narcissism to stare at yourself in the mirror. Sometimes it's just curiosity. Like I stare at myself sometimes, and I'm not I'm the least bit narcissistic in my own opinion, of course. But um, yeah. So like it's just sometimes you look at out of curiosity and you just wonder like, well, what's in an eye? I don't know. But anyway, my point is like you can add just a little bit of detail and it automatically starts looking realistic. It is not hard to make it start looking realistic just with a little bit of detail. Kid's got a great question for us. Jeremy, what did the right eye say to the left eye? I feel like there's a punchline coming. What did the right eye say to the left eye? I don't know. See you soon. Oh, once you're done with, oh, okay, yeah, there's the punchline. Sorry. Between you and me, there's something that smells. The nose. I know. That's good. I like that. Um, that's really good. I like that joke. I'm gonna have to remember that one. So I did want to say I remember I'm not gonna be able to deliver this right, but I read on Reddit once the shortest horror story ever. Right, the shortest horror story. And I thought it was pretty clever. Like, I'm probably not going to deliver it right, so sorry if I don't. But the shortest horror story ever is the eyes in the mirror blinked. All right, that's the shortest horror story. Now, it's a thinker. You have to think about it. The eyes in the mirror blinked. Okay, now you think about that for a moment, and I'll tell you why that's scary. The eyes in the mirror blinked. Anyway, I think it's scary. I'll give you 30 seconds and then I'll tell you why while I put in some more of this detail. Eyes are the door to the soul. Yeah. Lorraine's got it. There you go. You should not see that. Yeah. So, like, if you see your eyes in the mirror blink, those aren't your eyes. That's scary. That's super scary. And that is the shortest horror story that anybody on Reddit could come up with. And, like, I think that was the highest rated one. I'm like, man, that's good. That's really good. And easy to remember, too. That's why I was able to, like, tell you. But nah, that's always been creepy. Like, if you think about it, the more it creeps you out. I don't know why it's so creepy. It shouldn't be that creepy, but it is creepy to me. I don't know. I'm easily creeped out. All right, so I'm going to switch to my mechanical pencil and get some eyelashes in here just so I have them. But yeah, I always liked that one. That was good. Eyes and mirror meet. Just between the two of us, something smells. That's such a good. That's a good joke. It's probably like a lot of great eye jokes. So I guess I should talk about eyelashes since I'm doing those. So like eyelashes are very interesting and it's even though men and women have basically the same anatomy when it comes to the eyeballs. We have the same eyelashes, we have the same eyes and stuff. But the truth of it is, at some point, women have pretty eyelashes and men have terrible eyelashes. And by terrible eyelashes, I mean they start going everywhere. Um, I don't know what women do to keep their eyelashes in order, but as guys, we don't do it. Like it's a lot like the eyebrows. They just start getting kind of like unwieldy and just kind of go all over the place. So that's what I'm going to try to convey here. But also, I may not be able to like convey it exactly because it is pretty nuts. I think it's called mascara. There you go. So I don't know. I don't know these things. Like, um, I believe you. Guys do not. Well, I don't know. Some guys maybe. I'm not here to judge. Some guys might use mascara. But yeah, also it seems like women have more to their eyelashes than men. Like it seems like they're longer, they're fuller. Maybe all that's makeup, I don't know, but like when you're drawing guys' eyelashes, it's probably like a little on the less is more kind of bit. But they really are kind of like all over the place. It's not like So like a lot of people, they might draw like an eye, like I don't know, like a football with a little circle in it, little pupil, and then they draw the like the eyelashes like that. That's not really how eyelashes work. Eyelash curler. No, guys don't mess with those. And those things are scary. You want to talk about horror stories? Um, yeah, the eyelash curler and stuff. That's like monstrous. Like I don't know how you guys put those. Like I've seen movies where aliens are like putting drills into people's eyes, and that's what that looks like to me. I don't know. That's also the reason I don't wear contacts. So like the idea of putting something in your eye is just like I don't know. I can't do it. Like I don't know how people do that. But like putting contraptions over your eyes and stuff like that, I guess maybe you get used to it over time. Like I don't know. I guess like if you're a teenage girl or whatever and you're doing your eyelashes, I guess by the time you're an adult, you're over that kind of stuff. I would never get over that. That would like traumatize me. No, I couldn't deal with that. Putting things in my eyes or putting things near my eyes or any of that jazz. Nope. So it still looks like a fairly young person here, but at some point we'll get some age details in here. So I'm drawing with a mechanical pencil here just because like there's amazing amount of like control you have over your picture by doing these fine lines. I've got plenty of other pencils. I can also use like a sharpened pencil if I want to, but I've I've always enjoyed drawing with a mechanical pencil just because you get that kind of like fine lines and stuff. And if you don't want it to look like lines, you can easily blend it out with like a blending stump or something like that. You can do cross hatching, you can do all sorts of other things, but just having the that much control, I enjoy it, right? And you can get like really faint with it. You can get really like dark. Well, you can get somewhat dark. Like if I need to do something dark like this pupil, I will definitely switch to another pencil. Yeah, there's oh, all of which is do not use. What does the thing even do? I would not be able to use contact. No, contacts. I mean, it's amazing to me that they're so popular because like I don't know, it's just scary to me. Like and some people wear contacts that don't even need to wear contacts. Like they have the contacts that change your eye color, for example. You know, like I go to Comic Cons. There's a lot of people who wear that as part of their costume and everything. It's like what? You're like willingly putting things in your eyes that you don't need to? That's just weird to me. The thing is, it's weird to me, but I'm the weirdo for even saying it because it's so common that people put these things in their eyes. I just don't get it. The other thing is I get really dry eyes and stuff like that. I don't think I would feel comfortable wearing contacts for too long. So just there's so many different structures to the eye as well. So like this is a tear duct, right? And probably if you were just drawing this from like if somebody said, hey, draw me an eye and stuff, and you didn't have a reference photo to work from and stuff, you would probably just like draw like a little tiny little thing over in the corner or something. You would not go to this extent. You would not think to, but because of the way the eye is positioned and because of the age of the person that I'm drawing here, it's actually a very pronounced tear duct. So um, I'm not the first person to say this, but I'm a big advocate of it. And draw what you see, not what you know. So like you know that there's a tiny little tear duct in the corner, but that's not actually what you would draw because that's not what you actually see in the picture that you're doing. So I've got a small blending stump here. I'm going to use that. Rum Dog says looking good. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's funny that we're talking about contacts while I'm working on like an eyeball. Yeah, contacts would be tough for me. Like I haven't even considered them. I haven't like astigmatism or whatever it was, and I've been wearing glasses since I was like 12. So I assume the technology has gotten better to where theoretically it wouldn't be a problem for me to wear contacts. I know that like when I was first started wearing glasses and stuff, like I think they said they don't recommend contacts for me and stuff, and I just kind of stuck with that. But in hindsight, I don't think I would have went for it anyway. I have a phobia of sticking things in my eye. It's just because I watch too much X Files. Like you guys know what I'm talking about. Every alien story, when they abduct you, the first thing they do is drill right into the eye. Doesn't matter what movie it is, what TV show. If there's an alien abducting you, they are drilling into your eye. So no, that's a non-starter for me. Rum Duck says I never take mine out. I leave them in a month straight. Probably not good. That's probably the way I would be as well. That's all. That's the other thing. I'm lazy. I don't spend a lot of time doing maintenance on myself or anything like that. So like if if um if it's not hygienic or even like a health hazard to leave your contacts in, well, that's me. That's what I'm gonna do. My eyeballs will probably be damaged. All right. Let's see. The tough thing with eyelashes is that you can do a couple of them really quickly, but you still have to be careful and make them look like they're individually drawn. You know what I mean? It's like you can get a couple in the background and then just kind of like add some detail over it, but you really have to be very careful to make them because they're not like blocks. They are lines, and you can easily get impatient and want to move past them, like I do, pretty quick. But you can't really do that. And you have to pay attention to them as well because like I mean I'm making observations here that I would not have expected to make. So like over here, all the eyelashes are pretty straight, right? And they're pretty straight. They kind of come out of the end here, kind of mesh together, and then kind of like blend in with the wrinkles almost to where you can't tell if like it's wrinkles or eyelashes. So that's what you got going on over on this side. Over here, they're pretty straight until you get to the end here, and then they kind of curl back in. And it's kind of interesting because like even when I was working on the woman's eyelashes, they're kind of the same. So like they don't just kind of stick out. They kind of curl out. They kind of curl up and out, almost like Loki's horns, right? Like if you ever see Loki from Marvel. Um, so these are the things that kind of fascinate me. Like when you're drawing a picture, it's not just drawing the picture. It's all these like little. I mean, I made the comment before, and I'm always reminded of it. It's almost science, Like back in the day, this is really how people perform science. They had to draw illustrations of anatomy and stuff for like scientific textbooks and things like that. But I feel like a scientist when doing it myself because I'm looking at these things and I'm like I'm making observations and then I'm making recordings, right? With that science. Um, I'm seeing that the eyelashes are curled and I'm recording that in my own drawing. And then theoretically, some person may come by later and look at this and be like, oh, hey, you know what? Like when human beings have eyelashes, sometimes they're curled. I don't know. Nobody's going to look at this from like a scientific perspective. I'm just saying that, like, that's how I feel when I'm doing these things. I feel like a scientist. I used to have a little book that I carried around that I would make drawings in and stuff like that, almost like as a like an artistic journal, not necessarily like a sketchbook like most artists have. It'd just be like I see something and I wanted to record it. This is before like, phones and iPads and stuff like that. But when I was a wee little Jeremy, um, like how people make notes and stuff in notebooks and stuff, I would also make drawings and kind of record things that way. Just like notes about things, observations about things. I don't know. I always thought it was cool whenever, yeah, science. I always thought it was cool, like in the movies and stuff, particularly like movies from like an old time period, like I don't know, like Victorian, like Sherlock times or whatever. You know, the whole academic side of like recording things. Um, Dances with Wolves. Like most people are familiar with Dances with Wolves. Like he kept a journal where he drew the Native Americans he came across and the buffalo and the wild ranges and stuff like that. That was the norm back in the day. It's not like they had Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you know. People would make recordings in their journals. So I always liked that idea. I never really stuck with it, but I'd always start a journal, do some of this, and then like forget to keep up with it and stuff. So like I had a bunch of journals, I just never finished any of them. Like I had a ton of journals. The first 10 pages of them had stuff in it, and then the rest were blank. And then I'd be like, well, I can't use that journal anymore, and now I need to start a new one. And you see people on YouTube, by the way, that like do sketchbooks and stuff. 100%. That is the same with them. They may lie to you and say, "Oh yeah, I do sketchbooks all the time." And look at my sketchbook that I filled out that's got 300 entries in it and stuff. Yeah, that one is their show book. The rest of them are like half finished drawings, incomplete ideas. First 20 pages maybe filled out. The rest of them are empty. Okay, so maybe they're better artists than me, and that's not the case. I'm just saying that that's how it was for me, and I really strongly suspect that's how it is for most artists. Because you get distracted, and then when you come back to it, you don't want to start over with a sullied journal. You want a fresh journal, fresh blank canvas to draw upon. How are we doing on time? Like, I feel like we haven't made very much progress here. So these blending stumps really do help with the realism because, like, otherwise you're left to the grainiousness of the tooth of the paper, essentially, the texture of the tooth of the paper, because that's what your graphite ends up on. Let's see, there's like a second layer here. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, cool. Like this bottom lid, it's kind of split into two pieces. Yeah, I feel like this is something I could occupy several hours with. I don't have several hours, so I need to make sure that I make progress. But I do like realism. I just don't always have the patience for it. It's gonna be really soft with these lines because they're barely there. Like where one part leaves off and the other picks up. It's tough. All right, so I'm gonna go back up to here. I want to start conveying some of the features that make him look like an old man. So you do have like these weird eyebrows that just kind of like go everywhere. Um, you know, not all guys get this, but for the most part, you do start to get bushy eyebrows. I'm of the age where it's like, eh, should probably do a little bit of maintenance on my eyebrows. Like, you don't want to be like, I don't know, one of those guys that like shave their eyebrows and all that kind of nonsense, but you know, could use a little maintenance. At least I'm not drawing his nose and there's like nose hairs everywhere. That would be bad. But I do like drawing older people, older men, older women. Like I haven't done a lot of older women, but it's the same concepts. You you turn things that maybe people look at as like undesirable things they look at like they consider them undesirable because they're like marks of age and stuff like bushy eyebrows for example and to me those are really cool, like sure you don't have bushy eyebrows when you're in your 20s and stuff, so it is kind of a mark of age and stuff, but it's also like an earned mark of age. It's like you look wizened with bushy eyebrows, you look like Gandalf with bushy eyebrows, you know It's not necessarily a bad thing. It is difficult to draw though, because like you got these weird lines all over the place and kind of want to. That's why you kind of put in like these shadows up here to kind of give you a base to work off of, and then you kind of like bring it out with details, and so that. Rum Dog says you got to draw a yellow Nerf ball or for blending. Oh, you got to try a yellow Nerf ball for blending. I do. I should do that. I'm not above doing things like that. That sounds like that might work. But yeah, some of these features you can get away with like quick gestures, and then other ones, unfortunately, you got to draw them individually, and it's tedious and time consuming and all of that. But you know, like the benefit is in the results. You do good work, people admire the amount of detail you put into it, you know? So I don't have a kneadable eraser, but I do have this normal edged one, and I think that might work for some of these highlights I want to put in. If it doesn't, I think what I'm going to do is break out my gel pen, which is cheating, but I think that first off, I think this eraser is going to work, but also, you do what you have to do in order to get the result you want. So I'm putting down a bunch of graphite just to give myself something to erase. And then I want to see what happens if I try to get like a sharp edge. All right, it's not as fine as I want it to be, but it's still there. So just using the corner of the brush, I can get some slightly realistic highlighted hair up in here, which is good. And then unfortunately, the parts that I can't get any smaller, they sell erasers that are like super fine that I should really invest in if I'm going to be doing more of these. Um, so like anybody out there who's wanting to do hyper realistic pictures, I do recommend getting one of those erasers that are like super fine, but also that's a good start. Um, Kid says, well, as a female, our eyebrows get thinner, so I wouldn't mind bushy eyebrows again. There you go. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So like men and women, I don't care what they say in the news. Men and women do have like biological differences. I think, so like, I don't want to get like political or anything like that, but I do think that, concepts of like gender are kind of like made up, right? So like gender concepts such as like, well, women should be cooking and men should be out like, I don't know, working or something like that. Those are socially constructed concepts, but biologically there are some differences between men and women, and it's kind of fascinating because like the differences between men and women are different when we're younger than they are when we're older. So like when we're older, the differences between men and women are completely different than the differences we have when we are younger. There's always differences of some sort, but uh, it's kind of fascinating to me that those evolve over time. You know, I don't know why that's fascinating to me. I mean, obviously everything evolves, over time. Time is a great change. Time is a great agent of change. There we go. That's kind of cool. I like that concept. I just came up with that. Time is a great instrument of change. I need to write that down, like because it's pretty good. But yeah, so like it is interesting how the things that change are different between men and women over time, or something. I don't know what I'm saying. It's hard to hold a train of thought when you're doing bushy eyebrows. Okay, let me go back to this. It is frustrating. that you have to draw individual things here and there. I don't really have the fine eraser that I would like in order to do these highlighted hairs, but that's okay. But like his eyebrow starts down here and then it goes all the way up here. That's how bushy these things are. Hey Tom, how's it going? Good to see you. We're doing an old man's eyebrows at the moment. If we can get these working right. I feel like a little bit's lost in the translation here, but that's okay. I think that it might look a little bit better the more I kind of work on some of these other areas. Get some shadows going up here. You know that eye? We were talking, so since you just showed up, there's two things that are further up that are fun. So I'm not gonna make you scroll up. I'm just gonna repeat them. So Kid had a nice joke. She said, "What did the right?" I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact words, but what did the right eye say to the left eye? And the answer is, "Something smells between us." Get it? Right eye, left eye. Some smell. Anyway, you'll know it when you get it. And then the other one is, what is the shortest horror story ever? And the answer is the eyes in the mirror blinked. And that's so scary to me because like your eyes are not supposed to, like you wouldn't see your eyes blink. So if like you're looking in a mirror and the reflection blinks, or maybe it's my reflection in the mirror blinked. I told you I wouldn't be able to get it right, but you guys get the gist. My reflection in the mirror blinked. Yeah, that's just scary. Should have kept that one for Halloween. All right, so I still got like a lot to get down here, but we're doing okay on time. So it does kind of suck that most of my drawings still take quite a long time, especially the quality of them. It's not like they're like photos or anything like that. So like I don't know why they take so long. Like I see other artists and I get kind of jealous about how they're able to create a pretty cool picture in like 20 minutes. I'm like, man, that's awesome. Wish I could do that. But no, I think it, I mean, I can create the gist of something in 20 minutes. Like I've done things like that. I've done like a really quick kind of scribble and stuff, and those things come out where they look like something within 20 minutes. But nothing where it's like any sort of level of detail or anything like that. Those pictures always seem to take me a while. And still they're not great. It's kind of funny because like here it is November, uh December and then January. January will mark 2 years of me having uh been here on YouTube. That's kind of cool. We should do something special for that. Like a special celebration 2 year back. I feel like this is AA or something. You get a chip, like 2 year chip for like being on YouTube for that long. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like an accomplishment. It'd be interesting maybe for like my 2 year thing on YouTube. Yeah, that's probably a bad idea. I was thinking like for the 2 year thing, can kind of go back over some of the pictures I've done and stuff like that, and kind of like just do a review. I don't know. I don't. I don't know if there's like a lot of wisdom in pulling up your past failures. I guess technically, yeah. I guess technically, every failure is an opportunity to learn, and revisiting past failures and stuff is probably something that makes sense to do. Or we can just like bury it and forget about it. And this guy kind of looks like a wolfman almost unintentionally, but wolfmen are cool in movies because they do focus on the eyes. Like this shot here could very easily be out of a wolfman transformation scene. They always seem like to do that. So there's a couple of things like in Wolfman movies that they like to capture. This is not Wolfman. I'm not drawing Wolfman. I don't want to get that impression. But like in a Wolfman conversion, I guess they will show a couple of things. That it's always the eyes. So they want to show you that he's wolfing out and that his eyes are transforming. So that always happens. And then the other thing is they always like to show the fingers stretching out and becoming like claws, you know. So that's in every Wolfman movie. I don't care who makes it. Like it can be Hollywood. Well, obviously it'd be Hollywood, but there's a really cool like I know I talk about Disney a lot, Marvel a lot, but there is a really good Wolfman um, show on Disney. Well, it was like a one-off special presentation. It was Werewolf by Night. That's a really good Marvel production. I enjoyed that. Kind of sketching in where I think the more shadow needs to be. So you do have like I don't know. We don't age well, guys. We don't. We start getting these little saddlebags, I guess, under our eyes. I guess women do too, but I'm just saying, like, we start looking like pieces of leather, and it's kind of weird, you know. Like I don't know what it is. I guess gravity somewhat, but also just like I don't know, skin shrinking or something. Like, at what point are we like losing body mass to where the skin is too loose? Like, why is the skin so loose? It doesn't make any sense. Like, are we wearing like a bodysuit? I mean, what's going on here? But yeah, that's what happens. Is we get these bags. I mean, they look cool. Like it's almost like a dragon. You know, like if you saw these features on a dragon, you wouldn't be like, oh man, that dragon looks old and decrepit. No, you'd be like, that dragon looks like a badass. That dragon's seen things, which probably probably a dude of a certain age has seen things in life. These eyes hide things that he'd rather forget. Actually, maybe these eyes hide things that he has forgotten. Who knows? Hey, Larry, how's it going? American Werewolf in London. There you go. It's probably my favorite werewolf film. There you go. So I haven't seen that movie in so long. Like I barely remember the plots of it, but I guarantee you they have a wolf transformation scene where it focuses on the eyes changing, and then it focuses on the hands extending into claws. Larry says, "Hey Jeremy, nice eye. Thanks, appreciate it. It's good to see you, by the way. Sorry for the day change. I was intending to do Tuesday, and I just didn't make it. Whoops. So we're stuck. I wouldn't say stuck here on Wednesday. It's nice to keep you guys on your toes and try different days. That's not really true, but that's what I'm going with. Um, what is nice is actually consistency. Consistency is good. I joke about artists being flaky and stuff like that. The truth is, we all need a little bit of discipline. That's kind of the whole point of doing a scheduled show is to keep yourself to a schedule. It's so fun. Like the more layers that you add, the more realistic things look, and the more realistic things look, the more you feel inspired to continue. Um, it's kind of like this nice little wheel of feedback, I guess, loop. Where, I mean, in a good way. Usually, feedback loops are bad, but this this is a good feedback loop where you see things that you like and it encourages you to add more that you like. Shuffle this real quick. Teen Wolf. I love Teen Wolf. Michael J. Fox. That was cool. But yeah, that's another example. Like somewhere in that movie, Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox's eyes were zoomed in on. Again, I'm not drawing like Wolfman here. I'm just pointing out that that's a thing. That said, this could actually be like a Wolfman. All right. Let me try to get some eyelashes in down at the bottom. So again, gotta be a little bit careful with these. They are like straight line objects. Anybody got any plans for Thanksgiving coming up? Because that is like gonna be here next week, I think, right? Is it next week or is it the week after? Let me look at the clock here real quick. Thursday. Oh, I guess we have 2 weeks, right? Yeah, we have 2 weeks to Thanksgiving. All right, it's a little soon for Thanksgiving. Like I was thinking about that turkey I'm gonna paint today, and I'm like, huh, I wonder if I should do that. And I was like, nah, it's too early for Thanksgiving, but I didn't realize how early it was actually. It's way too early. So no Thanksgiving for you. A little early. Going to Warhorse's parents' house for Thanksgiving. Does Warhorse live near you, or are you guys at different places? I guess Warhorse would be near you because you mentioned babysitting. I think I don't know. Robert G says, "Keeping my eye on you." Nice. I love it. So I really wish I had a better way of doing, these light eyelashes because this isn't cutting it. But try to get these in there. Yeah, so I have to erase too much to do these, and then I have to backfill some lines. I really need a precision eraser. So that's what I'm gonna get for Christmas. All right, I'm gonna ask Santa for a precision eraser. It's kind of crazy that like the holidays are coming up so soon. Like we just got rid of We just got rid of Halloween. Like, I think wasn't like the election like last week or something. It's crazy. And like already they have Christmas stuff in the stores. Like there's a place not a place, a radio station around here that plays nonstop Christmas music throughout the holidays, right? So like um all through December, nothing but 100% Christmas music. I love Christmas music, so that's good for me. I actually tune into that channel and I just leave it on all Christmas whenever I'm driving around. I only listen to the radio really when I'm driving. Um, but anyway, the thing is, in the past, I'm pretty sure it was always just December, but it's already playing Christmas music, and it's like not even Thanksgiving. It's barely past Halloween. It's like, what is with the Christmas music already? I'm not ready. I'm not prepared for Christmas yet. Like, I understand this is the most joyous time of the year, but like, you're kind of shoving it down my throat a little bit and causing anxiety. Like, if you wanted to be joyful, lighten up a little bit about the Christmas thing. Like, don't force it onto me. I'm not ready. I don't know. Christmas causes me anxiety. I don't know about you guys. I think deep down inside, I'm just kind of like a needlessly anxious person. But I'm one of those type of people that kind of sweat what to get people. I don't know what to buy them. I don't know what they like. I'm always afraid that I got the wrong thing. Feel like I don't know, I overdid it or underdid it. Um, never really satisfied. It's I enjoy the Christmas season because like I love the music, I love the atmosphere, I love all that stuff. But as far as stressful, it is super stressful. I love seeing loved ones. I love that everybody's in a good mood, but also a lot of stress to it as well. Shouldn't be. People should have people should enjoy the end of the year. I think that's the whole point of Christmas. You're supposed to enjoy the end of the year. It's supposed to be a time when people wind down and relax a little bit. The days are shorter. It's darker sooner. You just want to kind of curl up with like well, this isn't Christmas. Obviously, there's a whole different kind of like food thing for Christmas, but as winter sets in, I just kind of want to curl up with a like a soup. Okay, Larry's like maybe more of a George Orwell Big Brother vibe. Yeah, like usually Big Brother in that story is presented as a like an older man with these big bushy eyebrows and big mustache. So like if I was actually going for the George Orwell thing, I would definitely make sure that includes his mustache because usually the that Big Brother thing does include the mustache. I love that story by the way. Um, I think I mentioned before that, and I haven't done this for years. I've been out of it for a while, but I was trying to make my way through the 100 greatest novels of the 20th century. And obviously, 1984 is one of those. And one of the ones that I read pretty early because I think I started at the top of the list. I don't, I don't remember how far I got through it, but um, I, I don't know how far I got through the list. I read all of 1984, but um, it's pretty fascinating, and it amazes me. So 1984, like not everybody knows this, but 1984 was actually written in 1948, right? That's the reason why I think they called it 1984, is they just reversed those numbers. But it is surprisingly fit for today's day and age. Like I mean, it could have been written in the last 10 years or something like that. And then there's another book that's kind of similar in that vein, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Brave New World was written like I think the 1930s. I'm not totally sure on that. Don't quote me on that, but it was a long time ago. And if you read Brave New World, there's a lot of overlap with today's society, and it's like it is pretty interesting, the foresight that these authors had. You know, like the the ability to kind of like notice where humans are heading, maybe, or just capturing human nature in general is like, oh, this is inevitable. Um, because a lot of that stuff is, it's like left to our own devices. Humans are pretty predictable in what they'll do. You know, I think I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Ayn Rand, but I do like her books, and I would consider some of her books to be up there as well. It's one of those things where it's like they kind of envisioned a sadly dystopian future for most of these stories, and here we are living in them. Here we are. The future is now. Yay! Like I said, if you're not an anxious person, let me give you some reasons to feel anxious about things. I don't know. I try not to be anxious about things. I try to be easygoing. It is a lot easier to be easygoing when you have outlets for uh, things such as art. You know, like you can get lost in art and just forget about the world. Um, Sometimes when I have a live stream and I don't know what I'm going to work on that night, I don't stress it, but I think about it, and I want to do something that people would enjoy watching, so I don't just you know phone it in and stuff. I actually think about what I want to do and why and things like that. Um, but then when I'm actually doing the art, like here now, hanging out with you guys, I'm super chill. I'm in a great mood. I'm thinking about, I don't know, like this weekend, what I'm gonna do, and my mind wanders off to like what I did last weekend. This past weekend, I went kayaking with some friends on, like, I think Sunday, maybe it was Saturday. It was pretty nice. Here it is, November. The weather was nice. It was a little overcast, a little bit chilly, but not so much that it was cold or anything like that. And just went kayaking with some friends, and we had a good time. And it's probably, I don't know, maybe I can fit one more kayak trip in this before it gets too cold. But there's only so many left, so many times left in the year, and it's just nice. Little things are nice. So whenever you get stressed out, think about the little things that are nice. Take a tip from old Jeremy. Think about the nice things. It's like, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Nobody sits around wanting to think about the bad things. Rome Dog says, looks hella good. Thanks, I appreciate that. How are we doing on time? Oh, okay. All right, let me make some progress down here because I feel like I'm slacking down here. All right. So down here, so a lot of the times the pictures that I choose for these type of the reference pictures I pick for these, um, they're usually black and white, so that I don't have to think too much about how shadows translate to black and white. So if you are gonna do somebody's portrait, like say you're gonna do like your father or something like that, take a picture of him, open it up. There's like a lot of different graphics programs that will do the conversion, but convert them to black and white, and then um, a lot of times when people do black and white photography, they up the contrast, and I can see that they did for this photo as well, which is nice because you get to see those features. That's the reason why they do it. So you see like, you know, I don't know, like pores and stuff in his nose that are kind of not necessarily filled in with blackheads or anything like that, but he's an older guy. He's got pores. Hey Larry, I lived live stream with Jeremy. Yeah, yeah. So if you want to see a Rum Dog drawing in person, go and check out that live stream. It was last Tuesday. It was pretty cool. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, so like if you're choosing a photo to work with, go with one that's like high contrast like this. One that really shows off the detail. Because then you have a lot of detail to draw. Let me get the shading in there. The thing is, there's very little in the face that stays white. Like the highlights and stuff, those stay white. Everything else should be like some variation of gray. The thing is, like I always feel this way whenever I draw old people. Like I'm not the youngest guy in the world, right? So like I've seen a few years myself, but whenever I draw like a really old person, I look at these features and I'm like, man, I can't wait. I think that's gonna look awesome. Like I want to look like an old dude because it shows wisdom and stuff, right? I wanna look like a wise old man. Go around like Gandalf, be like, I don't know, maybe I'll get a staff or something. I'll just walk around and be like, "You shall not pass." uh, what? Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I don't know. I try to enjoy myself as I am now, but I do look forward to things. Let's see. Right. Okay. Um, much time do I have? So I think I have enough time to get most of the features I'm looking for in this. Yeah, definitely check out Rome Dog's live stream. It's really kind of cool. Um, he does a lot more talking in it than he thought he was going to do, which I think is cool. And then his picture turned out really nice. It's a Rome Dog as the Incredible Hulk. Like we had this kind of superhero theme. It's kind of lame, but he really rose to the challenge and created something that I thought was like way more creative than what I did. We've got a storm going on and I can hear the rain falling. It sounds so nice. I love things like that. Especially in the winter time. Like I was burning a candle all day today. It felt like fall to me. I don't know. I just feel like curling up and reading a book. So there's a lot of ways you can get like the soft, shadows and stuff on the skin. You just kind of dance across the page and stuff, and then you can kind of come back and blend it in. You don't want to blend in too much. Um, I've talked before about how I think that's actually something that young artists or new artists and stuff kind of overdo a bit. They kind of overblend things and stuff. You want to leave some texture so that people know that one, it was drawn, and you don't want to hide the fact that it was drawn. But two, it doesn't look realistic if it's too smooth. It looks, there's something called the uncanny valley in like computer graphics and stuff where like, you know, it almost looks real and then it doesn't quite look real and stuff. And it kind of like warps, your mind gets confused over how to process it. Like, is this a fake? Is this real? Um, your brain has trouble processing things that look almost real but aren't, right? So you don't want to do that with your picture because the person viewing it is going to struggle. So you want to make it look realistic, but also don't hide the fact that it's a drawing. This is my opinion, of course. Like everybody's going to do their own thing. Like some people try to draw something that looks like a photo, and I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying that either do that or don't do that, right? So like there's no middle ground. So either accomplish what you're doing, like if you want it to look like a photo, make it look like a photo if you can. If you can't, or you're otherwise unable to, then don't don't like leave it ambiguous. You want to make it look a little bit like a drawing so that the brain isn't confused, if that makes sense. I don't think I'm making much sense, but that's okay. 2:19 a.m. Wow. Hey, Sapien Nomad. How's it going? Which book am I going to read? Oh, man, I missed a lot of comments. Alan K is up in here too. Awesome work. Have you attempted dot paintings? Like a stipple art? I think so, maybe back in the day, not recently. That's a great question. Um, yeah, maybe I'll do that sometime, Alan. That sounds cool. Sapient Nomad means what book? I don't know if he's talking about the book I was wanting to curl up with. I don't know. Like I said, I like classics. It's been a while since I looked at the list of 100 greatest books of the 20th century, but I would like to get back into reading some of those books. Um, Again, I mentioned before on the show that like I want to be able to like James Joyce, for example. Um, but it's a tough, dense read, and it's hard for me to get through. So maybe I'll try that again now that I'm a little bit older and more open. I always like Mark Twain books. I have the collected works of Sherlock Holmes that I'm about halfway through. That's surprisingly really good, even though it was written in the I don't know, like turn of the century or whenever. Like Sherlock Holmes stories, even though they were set like a long time ago, they're very, very like timeless. It's so weird. Like obviously the technology is different. We're talking about London in the 1800s, 1900s, or early 1900s, I think is the latest that Sherlock Holmes operated. But yeah, surprisingly, it holds up. Like when they did the BBC Sherlock show where they brought him into like a modern time, I don't think it was that hard. A lot of the stories kind of like were easily translated, in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of Benedict Cumberbatch, Benedict Cumberbatch's version of Sherlock. Robert Downey Jr.'s is good too. Okay. Mark Twain is on my mom's side, great uncle. No kidding. Wow, that's cool. That's pretty awesome. He's always been a favorite of mine. When I was a kid. Oh, I read Catcher in the Rye once again recently. So like I read that when I was a teenager, but I just recently reread it. Um, Actually, I've read that like maybe three times. I enjoy the, it's a river town, so like stories about a kid who just kind of like takes a raft and heads on down the Mississippi River and stuff. That kind of appealed to me at the time, where I'm like, I would love to do that. So that story really resonated with me. And then I like Mark Twain's humor, and I like the character of Huckleberry Finn. I like that I mean, it's basically a philosophy book when you get down to it. It's a very philosophical story. Um, I like the nature of it. I like how it's composed. So it's basically composed as almost like episodes. Like even though there was no concept of you know, television shows or anything like that at the time that he wrote the book, he still composed it where these were episodes of things that happened to Huck Finn and Jim on the raft going down the river over a period of time, right? And each individual chapter, I don't remember exactly how they were organized. I don't know if you can just like kind of lift one out, but it felt like you could just kind of lift each into. Certainly, there's a bunch of different stories in there, and I don't know if they're broken up into chapters, but you could pick these stories up and lift them out, and they're like episodes. Um, so that episodic way of writing, I don't know if it was new, but I picked up on that, and I thought it was cool. It's kind of funny because like later on in life, I started liking Jack Kerouac in his On the Road book, and It's very similar to the Huckleberry Finn story, except that in Huckleberry Finn, you're riding a raft down the river, and on the road, you're riding in a car down the road, right? So like, but it's still the same thing. You're riding down the great expanse of river, essentially, even the modern river of the road, and different things are happening to you, different adventures along the way. So that's very much how Huckleberry Finn was structured, and that's how On the Road was structured. And I just love that style. I love that. I love that kind of writing. And like I said, the humor. Mark Twain is so hilarious, and the character of Huckleberry Finn is such a dynamic character. He's funny. He's he's morally ambiguous. There's a point in the book where he's like he's debating whether or not something's morally right. Spoiler alert. At the time, it was whether or not Jim should be a free man. He was a black man, and Huckleberry Finn's debating that because society at the time is telling him that Jim should not have like snuck away and rafted down the river. That's bad according to society. But Huckleberry Finn debates that for himself, and it's really great because he's a kid and he still comes to this conclusion that, well, who cares if society says it's wrong? I know it's right. So he's like, I'll just do it anyway. And I thought that was great. And to a young man such as myself, that really resonated. Um, you know, uh, that society doesn't always have the best ideas. Essentially, you can judge for yourself what's right and wrong, independently of what you're told. Um, Now, I don't know if that's a good message for high school students or not, but it's one that resonated with me, and I loved it. And then, you know, some of Mark Twain's other works are not as deep as that. Like Tom Sawyer. That's basically like a coming of age kid story. There's a lot of adventure in it and stuff, but it doesn't have this type of philosophical overtones that Huckleberry Finn does. But anyway, I enjoyed reading that. Trying to think of other books on the list I'm trying to get through. Um, Catcher in the Rye was a good one. 1984 was really good. I enjoyed that. Like I said, Brave New World. That was one that I really enjoyed. Little little veins and stuff in the eye. I love doing these. These are tough too. So like you have to really be careful with these veins to make them look realistic, because otherwise they could just look like random weird lines. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to like they're not as in your face as the eyelashes that you're drawing. There's just like little subtle lines, and they're just meant to kind of show that, yeah, this is somebody who hasn't had enough coffee yet. We don't have time. All right, I need to make sure that I think we're getting there, but we're not quite there. It's so hard to do these eyelashes here that are kind of not the same thing. Okay, Larry says Catcher was interesting. Basically, a long weekend with an antagonist. Yeah, and it was kind of cool. And like, I don't know what sort of like morals you could get out of it, or like, I don't know. I don't know what the takeaways would be, but it's a very enjoyable story. I enjoy living with the protagonist for that weekend, as he makes his way around New York. New York at the time that book was written, or at least the time that it was set. I don't know if it was set in the same time. Um, that in itself is a character, like imagine being that age and just kind of like running around New York City, living in New York City, where, like you go to the museum and stuff because the museum's just right down the road and you're walking to it. I think that's kind of fascinating. New York over the years, like I've never lived in New York. Like I've only been through it like a couple of times, and not for very long. And it's mostly like on the outskirts of it, really. But I love, I love the concept of New York. Like New York is is a character essentially in stories in itself, because it does age, it does change over time. I don't know, I don't know if there's like I don't know what sort of character development New York would have, but it certainly has changed over the years, and it's changed over the last couple of decades even. Like in the 80s, for example, my understanding is that New York was kind of a cesspool. Like all the movies and stuff where they show that the subways and stuff were just like garbage and spray painted with graffiti and stuff. I mean, that was during the 80s. That was real. And it's cleaned up a little bit now, but it's kind of like a setting for different modern stories and stuff like that. It's kind of cool because it might as well be a character in and of itself. That's the way I like to think of it, at least. It's the way I think of like Gotham with Batman. Like in the Batman story, Gotham is a character as well. See, I told you the other day you only get 4 hours of sleep due to the varying stock market. Oh, you're a stock trader, that's why. Yeah. The day the Trump won, the day Trump won, stock markets and cryptocurrencies surged unexpectedly. Well, I guess if you did expect it, you could have made some money off of it. Yeah, Bitcoin is at the all-time high right now for anybody who is following that kind of stuff. I think that's interesting. I always rooted for Bitcoin. It's one of those things where it's like, we'll see. But let me see if I can. How we doing? Okay. Get some detail down in here. So down in here, like I said, you get these like little, not necessarily pockmarks, kind of a, I don't know. So they're features of the bag, but it's almost like you're seeing like creases and maybe sometimes they're blood vessels, but this is from too much smiling over decades. That's what it is. Like I said, these are the type of marks on your face that you want to earn, like at some point you want to have these marks because these are the signs of a life well lived. It's interesting because like I don't care where your station in life is, or like your class or anything like that, how much money you've got, how long you've lived, or anything of that nature. You always see smile lines in people, right? Even people who are miserable, people who have had miserable lives, you still see these smile lines because at some point they laughed at a joke. At some point they had a good time. Maybe it was Christmas, maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but at some point they enjoyed themselves. So like these are features you want to have at some point in your life. Maybe later instead of like sooner. Maybe that's okay because you don't want to age too quickly, but at some point you do want to look like you've enjoyed your life. Road Dog's got a small stack of XRP. Nice. One day, people will, in the future, people will greet each other like, so who are you? Well, I'm the guy that's got a small stack of XRP. That's how we're going to introduce each other. Meet my friend Rome. He's got this nice portfolio of XRP. Don't hang out with that Jeremy guy. He's just got some Solana. Like, could you imagine if that was the case? Like, we're just introducing each other based on our portfolios. That's funny. That's not funny. That's actually the dystopian future. That's not good. It is kind of amazing. So, like, I do feel like I would love to get through that entire list of books because, like, I don't feel like there's new ones being added as much as you would expect, right? So, like, I don't think the writers of today are as good as the writers of yesteryear. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still some classics being cranked out, right? And people still do read, no matter what they tell you. Like People will be like, "Oh, books are dead" and stuff like that. That's not true. Like people still read books. People still enjoy stories in a written form. People like relaxing with books. Maybe not as much as they used to, but it is a thing. People, I don't think that's ever going to go away just because of hipsters. Hipsters always want to do um, the retro thing, right? So like it's because of hipsters that we still have vinyl records. Like there's no reason to have vinyl records anymore. Hipsters kept that alive. So there will always be books. Um, that said, when it comes to authors and stuff like that, the great American novelist, that might be harder to find these days than it was in the past. I don't know. Maybe it's just like my limited knowledge of authors and stuff, but I think that the classics are some of the better books. My take on it, and not just classics, like really good like story. Like I enjoy like Fight Club. Like a lot of people don't realize that's based on a book. Like that book was in the top 100 books as well, and that's obviously not a Mark Twain type book. But then, I did mention some of those books I just can't even get through. I want to like James Joyce, I just can't. Like, I just can't. I can't even. I can't even like. If anybody out there is a James Joyce fan, please tell me how you get through those books. But one of the things about James Joyce is he's got a very interesting writing style. So like that was one of the interesting things about Kerouac as well. So like Kerouac, he didn't just write cool stories; it was how he wrote cool stories. He would They didn't have computers back then, but they had. I mean, obviously they had typewriters, so they had something called teletype paper, um, and he taped a bunch of sheets together as like a big scroll and kind of fed it through like his typewriter so they continued to so that he didn't have to stop to change pages out, and he would get high on benzodrine. I think it was benzodrine, and just like for weeks write in that book. And he just wrote it as like one big long scroll. I don't think he added like sentences or paragraphs or anything like that. It was just one big long stream of consciousness um, ordeal that he went through. And I like things like that. That's kind of cool. Like that kind of stuff doesn't matter nowadays. I mean, you write on a computer, but back then that's very interesting because that's part of the art itself. That if you ever read On the Road, or if you're familiar with beat poets, um, you know, part of the whole thing is that they took drugs and they, went off and had adventures. So for them to like, for the writing process itself to like mimic that and be very much a part of that movement and as well, or like reflective of that movement, that's art, in my opinion. So like for him to type it out fast, stream of consciousness, almost like the beat of the poem itself, the jazz, all of that stuff that was all wrapped up in the beat generation. To me, that's way more interesting than somebody typing out a manuscript nowadays on like a computer or something. Back then, the process itself was part of the message. I thought that was cool. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but that's the reason why I like some books. Like to me, that's not just a story. That's an experience. And I've always loved to be poets. When I went to San Francisco, I got to take a trip to San Francisco for like a conference. That was the tourism that I was interested. I went to City Lights bookstore, which is where like a lot of the beat poets publish their works. I went to Vesuvio, which is a bar that Jack Kerouac frequented, um, and I got the drink. So my tourism is I go to places where my heroes went, and I drink the drinks that they drink. So I drank his his classic cocktail, uh, which is kind of like a martini but with rum for some reason. But anyway, I went to Vesuvio, and it's a very cool bar. Like you guys should look it up because like the art there and stuff is like really cool. But anyway, it's kind of cool visiting my hero's old haunts. But yeah, that was a very influential book on me too. Like after reading On the Road, I wanted to take a bunch of road trips. That's all I wanted to do. And I can fly, I can take a train, I can do all these other things, but something about the Great American Road Trip really resonated with me. And I'm glad I read that book. All right, so I think I got all the basic features of the eye in here. I got a limited amount of time left to really kind of refine this a little bit. I don't think I'm going to get it to the point that I really want. I kind of bit off more than I could chew. There's a lot more area here than maybe I should be able to accomplish in the hour and a half that I kind of gave myself. I'm already past that by about 15 minutes. Meet my friend Lorraine. She found a treasure from there's treasure inside. What? What are you talking about, Lorraine? Did you find one of those treasure boxes? Because if so, this is breaking news here. You you can't make a statement like that. Meet my friend Lorraine. She found a treasure from there's treasure inside, and not follow up and explain what that means. I wish I had seen that earlier. I would have called attention to that. I think somebody. Yeah, just kidding. Yeah, I was gonna say somebody hacked your account. Like you left your computer up or something. Like your kid came over and wrote that. That'd be amazing. I do hope that somebody finds that. Somebody from this group. That'd be cool. Yeah, those things are. I'm gonna talk about like Bitcoin and stuff. There's supposedly some Bitcoin in one of those treasure boxes. I don't know which one and how much it's supposed to be for, but that's part of the prizes. All right, so I think I need to wrap this up just based on time. I feel like I could have got this a little bit better. Like it still looks a little bit rough, but it is what it is. Maybe I'll smooth it up a little bit offline, but I think it's mostly there. I want to get more of this is like thundering out there. I don't know. Like I always get concerned whenever it's thundering out because of my when you live in Kentucky, the infrastructure is not all that great. So like whenever you have a storm, you run the risk of losing your internet. But anyway, I think this looks fine enough. Again, I could have made this smoother. I could have made it look a little more realistic, but I think this is good enough. Let me go ahead and remove the tape just because I like that part of the process. Just kind of want to darken this area up here real quick. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the tape and see what we're looking at. Lorraine's like just checking to see if we were here. Kid, that's what kid said. Kid says that Lorraine was just checking to see if we were here. That's amazing. I want to see that comment at some point. I want somebody to say, "Hey, I found $1 million treasure box or something," or "Hey, I won $1 million in the lottery." Like, I want you guys to have that sort of like good luck. I need to use different tape whenever I do this. I always use this tape here, and the blue tape I've got doesn't stick as hard as this. I have to be careful pulling this up. There you go. A little bit there. I'll fix that up. Oops. Sorry this is taking so long. I don't want to tear the paper too much. Okay, a little bit of smudge there. That. There you go. It's just kind of rip it. It's fine. All right, so I think this looks okay. Hopefully you guys like it. I need to be a little bit more careful with the tape in the future. See, oh, I just saw some lightning. Cool. There you go. Who cares if the paper rips a little bit? It's fine. All right, so I will use different tape in the future. But otherwise, I think this looks pretty good. It's a little hard to tell that it's an old man, but you can kind of see the wrinkles in here. I think I'll develop it a little bit more, um, off camera and stuff, and then post the result on the community tab when it's all done. Basically, I just think I need to kind of go over some of these areas just a little bit, maybe like to add a little bit extra detail layer. Um, Up here, kind of in the brows, the eyebrow, kind of got the gist of it, but there's some more development up here. Think I can do. I think I can get some more wrinkles down here, but at a time. It's already like an hour and 45 minutes in. Something like this is one of those things where it's like it can be extremely detailed, and it's really just like where do you want to stop? Like we could probably have done um, a little less detailed and stopped it a little while ago, and we still would have conveyed all the information for you to see that it's an eye. But also, we could spend another day on this if we wanted to, and just keep adding layers of detail and refinement. I'm not going to do all that, but I think I will add like a little bit of refinement as we go. But for the most part, I think this was pretty successful. It was a good session. Hopefully, you guys feel the same. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. So, yeah, Lorraine says looks good. Rome says that looks so good. Hater says $sign meow. Kid says that's a good looking eyeball. Anyway, hopefully you guys had a good time. Hopefully you guys see that really drawing eyes aren't as complicated as you may think. It's just adding layers of detail. So if you go back to the beginning of this video, you may recall that we started with a very light layer and we're just building up over time, extra layers, adding in more details, adding in like, the little features of the retina and so on, adding in some wrinkles and stuff. Again, can spend several more hours on this and just keep going with that and stuff. Maybe refine some of the lines and stuff. But anyway, that's all the time I've got for now. Hopefully you guys had a good time. I will see you guys. I think I'll be back tomorrow. I think I want to get back to sorry, a little premature there. I think I want to get back to doing the whole Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I think I will be back tomorrow with another picture. What it will be, I don't know yet, but I will see you guys then, and then I'll be back next week on Tuesday. So sorry I couldn't make it here yesterday, but Wednesday session is a lot of fun. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a good time. Thanks. Bye.